Hey guys, we're here at Living Forest Campground. Today what I'm going to show you is how to put up a tarp in a campsite. This is really simple stuff. Just going to use 2 knots that we've already learned before. Putting up a tarp is really important when you go camping because it makes it so if it's raining or even if it's too sunny, you can have that kind of campsite that other people are jealous of. And that is the kind of campsite you want to have. So setting up a tarp when you first get to a campsite can be like a really good first step to having a good campsite because it allows you to, if it's raining, pull up your tent and get your sleeping bag and stuff out all underneath the tarp and just to be dry, which is nice. And it's also easier to do when you don't have stuff all around, so it's a great first step. For that reason, if you're loading up a car to go camping, for example, a great idea is to put the tarp in last. That way, when you get to the place, you can pull it out first and set that up and you're good to go. So I promise you can do this with just 2 knots. The first one, and the most important one, you could probably do it just with this one, is a bowline. Remember, make a bowline by making a loop on the top. We put this line through, make sure it goes tight. We wrap around the bottom here and go back through that hole. And then we have a bowline. And the nice thing about this knot is no matter how hard we pull this, we can always get it undone just by sliding this part off, right? So it's a great, really useful knot and it's gonna help us a lot with this. The other knot we're going to use is a half hitch, which we just wrap it around the tree or whatever else you're wrapping it around. We put it over top, and back through that hole. And this again, really quick and a really good, strong, secure way to tie to something solid like a tree or a post or whatever else you may be tying to. So your first step is really going to be to find where you're going to put your tarp up. And we want a nice long section for the first one. And good places to tie to. I'm gonna go to this tree up here. You can see there's a rope there already. Really important, make sure you tie your rope so it doesn't get stuck in a tree. You don't want to be that guy. And I think I'm gonna go across to one of those branches up there, which should work well. Now, one thing that can be tricky is we want to get our rope all the way up into that tree. That's pretty high. So this is a certified pro tip. If you tie your rope to a stick or something that is a bit more substantial, a bit weightier, if you tie it on, it's way easier to throw it and get it up there. So I just have a really loose knot in there. But now, instead of just throwing a rope up there, I can throw my stick. There we go, I finally did it. So now I got my rope up there, and it's not gonna stay stuck up there. If I just flick it a bit, the weight of the stick should pull it down. There we go. Now, I've got one. So now my other end of the same rope is going to go up. This is going to be even harder to throw. It's going to go up into the crook of that tree. Here we go. Oh, I would have had it too. I just didn't have enough rope wrapped. Honestly, not 100% sure I'm going to make this throw. It might take 25 tries. Oh, look at that, I did it. Okay, so I've now got my top line up. I'm gonna go ahead and get my tarp out now. My tarp's actually pretty big. It'd be better if I had someone to help me with this, honestly. But, you know, social distancing. So here I am alone. Just spending all my time alone. I'm gonna unfold my tarp. I actually folded it up pretty nice last time. Look at that. I'm gonna lay it on top of my line. So I've got my tarp spread out basically. What I'm going to do is just tie each end of the middle onto my top line here. So, and then this line here, this main line, is going to hold up the middle of the tarp. It's going to support it. So I'll just tie this on as well. So now I got my top line of my tarp secured to it. If I pull this tight, should pull my tarp up into the sky. Now I got a bit of a problem because it's way over in the tree here, so I'm just going to put it down and retie it so it goes a little farther to that side. That's okay, trial and error. Alright, let's pull it back up, see where we're at. Oh, perfect. So our next thing, like I said, we're going to spread it out and kind of make that classic tent shape. Little bowline right here. There, that one's good. So now I just need to do these 2 sides. So one thing that can happen with tarps, these ones are actually, that I have is pretty good, but these grommets here will eventually, they will rip out. So pro tip, if you take a rock and just stick it inside your tarp like that in the corner, you can then take your string or rope or whatever and wrap it around there and tie it off like that, and then you've got something you can tie to, and this is where will kind of replace that grommet. So I've got 3 corners tied up now. The 4th one's gonna be a problem though, because I don't really have a tree to tie to here. There's one way over there, so I could run a long line. But the other thing I have is a pole. So I think I'll use a pole. One more thing you can do is a car. If you have a car and you're gonna be parked for a while, you can tie it to your car. So I have these poles here. I have 2 of them. I bought them at like a outdoor store. They're kind of cheap, but they're really good for this one thing. And so I always take them camping because they're super useful for putting up that kind of that last corner on a tarp. So all I do, pull it over here, stick it in here. And now what I'm gonna do is, I have this line here, this string, which I'll just put down to the ground to a tent peg, just down here. So it looks pretty good at this end. I think I gotta do up that corner again. Whenever you put up a tarp, it takes a couple of tries to get it all tickety-boo, but that's what I'll do now. You can see when I pull it that I end up with this tree kind of in the way. I'm gonna do one more pro tip. And that's I'm gonna tie it to this corner. So I'm gonna let this corner dangle. I'm gonna tie it to that side spot there. So just untie this line. So now that it's tied on here, I'm just gonna have this part dangle, and then this will be where my tension comes from. So I got my tarp set up pretty well now. I got nice tension all around. It's probably not going to pool. It may right here if it were to rain. I may get a little bit of pooling right in this area. But here's a pro tip. If you tie a weight onto here, which can just be a can or something, it'll let it to drain right down. But this is quite high. Like, I'm 6'4", right? And it's got lots of space over my head. And we'll have lots of space under here for a tent. The other thing that we did really well is a fire is outside. So if we have a campfire and we have smoke, it'll go up outside the tarp. So here we go. That, friends, is how you set up a tarp. Get that top line up really well. A pole can be a great asset. Use a stick to throw it over the top, and that's that.